And the last one for the category of beauty, the things that we're going to put under this heading of beauty, is fresh, radiant health. Again, let's go back to the definition of beauty and the criteria. It is that which pleases upon being seen, and part of that is because of its radiance, its splendor. And when you are in good health, you will have a certain splendor in your face. When you are younger, you're in your 20s, that's going to be really apparent. Even if you're eating junk food all the time, your body is so young that splendor, that youthfulness, that vitality is still there. However, when you get older, you can always make yourself look better by your health. Having good health is a certain aspect of beauty. There is something beautiful about a person that has energy and they're smiling and, they just got that vitality to them. Have you ever seen maybe fitness instructors or yoga instructors, there's something about them that is there's something beautiful about it and attractive because they're just so full of life. And so that is what I mean when I say you want to have some good radiant health. So you want to kind of eat well, exercise, watch what you eat, try to get in shape. And this is going to be a little bit of a touchy subject, but try to lose weight as much as you can. I understand that some women will have health issues, let's say you have PCOS or, some other endocrine disorder or something. There are women out there that really can't lose weight. It's very, very difficult for them. It's not just a factor of, you're eating too much fat if you clean up your diet. So for those of you like that, I understand. I'm not fat shaming you. For some women, it can be very hard to lose weight. And, our society doesn't make it any easier with, fast food on every block. You got Starbucks, coffee can often rev up your body, which can create cortisol. Because your body is going into this hyper-stimulated state. That's what caffeine does. It gives us energy. But sometimes if you drink too much caffeine, that elevated state will also raise your cortisol levels, and cortisol is actually implicated in belly fat. So if you've got some stubborn belly fat that you can't get rid of, take a look at your stress and your caffeine habits. Do you have a very stressful job? Do you drink a lot of coffee? When I say a lot, do you drink more than 1 cup a day? Do you drink it every day religiously? And so sometimes if we are in situations, are you in an unsafe situation? Do you, live at home and, maybe there's somebody bad there and you don't feel safe, or maybe you don't feel safe at your workplace. That can put our body in a state of, kind of cortisol. And the cortisol will mess up your metabolism, and it can often slant your metabolism toward being a little slower, and then that can make losing weight hard. So, and again, losing weight is not just about looks. It is also healthy to not carry extra weight on your body if you can help it. So it is, again, this is another thing, when we talked about beauty, facial beauty, first video of this series, weight is something similar. It's okay to care about your weight. Obviously you don't want to take it to an extreme. You don't want to develop an eating disorder. We are more than our body. We are more than a number on a scale. But at the same time, you want to take care of your health. And, keeping yourself at a healthy weight is important. When you have extra weight on the body, depending on how petite you are, sometimes even an extra 10 pounds, 5 to 10 pounds can put a strain on the body. Now, again, for most of us, 5 to 10 pounds is not a big deal. I don't want you to stress about it. But if you're very petite, or you're very thin boned, and you're just a skinny person, having that extra weight, sometimes it depends on genetics. Your heart also, has to pump blood. Extra weight, can hurt the systems of your body. It makes them have to work harder. So again, I don't want you to feel bad about it. Like I said, we're more than a number on a scale. However, at the same time, weight is important. There is, just as there's an effort in our society to kind of beauty shame and get women not be beautiful, there is also movement in society to embrace the body type of being very overweight. I'm talking 200 pounds. And that is not healthy. When you are that much overweight, Your heart has to work harder, your lungs, getting that oxygen brought all the way around your body, that is bad for you. The cholesterol and stuff that can come from that, being very much overweight is not good. And so you want to stay on top of your weight. You want to keep it in a healthy range. And a lot of times now again, unless you have something like PCOS, there are certain situations where you have some sort of hormonal disruption, and that will make you hold on to weight regardless of diet and exercise. So, if you find this happening, it may be your hormones or your thyroid, also if you have a messed up thyroid. If your thyroid is slow, your metabolism will also be slow because your thyroid, controls your metabolism. But if you don't have any kind of thyroid or hormone, disruption, try to clean up your diet, try to eat more fruits and vegetables. Don't eat junk food, don't eat fast food, soda, like soda pop. I don't know, depending on where in the US, you may call it pop, you may call it soda, I call it soda. But, that kind of, sugary drinks, things like that, you want to kind of stay away from that. And fried foods, greasy foods, this is all basic health stuff, we know this. But again, you want to keep yourself in good health. Now, you don't want to be a fanatic about it and make yourself miserable, like, oh, I can never have a chocolate pie, like, obviously you can have a treat, sometimes. But again, just look at what you're doing regularly, and you want to eat more fruits and vegetables, things like that, maybe chicken and fish, or you can be vegetarian. Certain people, it depends on, I feel like, your body type. I feel like some people do really well on like vegetarian diets, and then other people not so much. Again, if you want to be really healthy, it is encouraged that you limit your intake of meat. They've done a lot of studies about it. Now, I'm not saying you have to never eat meat. There are studies that show. I read this book called Eat to Live. If you want to lose weight, Eat to Live is a really good book. There's a diet in there. Basically, the guy puts you on a very heavy, like, fruit and vegetable diet. He's a little different than a lot of the health gurus in that he does allow you to eat chicken or fish a couple times a week, I think. So I feel like he's a nice balance. But he cites a lot of studies, where they looked at, the effects of eating meat or eating like oils and fried food and stuff. So there's a lot of data behind it. However, it's a good diet. I went on it. I was 170 pounds and I went on his diet. He's got like little meal plans in the back. And in 6 weeks, I lost 50 pounds. I was 170 and I went down to 120 in 6 weeks. And I kept it off for like 3 or 4 years. I went through a really stressful time at work, and I think the cortisol and the stress like messed up my thyroid, and then I put on a bunch of weight again. So I need to go back on that diet, which I plan to do. But it's very effective. Very effective. It's called Eat to Live, and it's written by a doctor, he's an MD. But again, find the diet that works for you. Find something that you feel is healthy, and then do it, stick to it. So yeah, good health. That is one thing men expect that is different between men and women. Men, they'll often like not go to the doctor, not watch what they eat. How many bachelors do you know? Like they just exist on like Hot Pockets, men tend to not watch their diet. They tend to not look at nutrition. So then as a woman, a good contrast to that is, you do care about your health. You do know about nutrition. Maybe you're into smoothies, maybe you're into things like that. And, you like to work out a little bit, that's good too. Now you don't want to overwork out, it can be, a lot of workouts are very masculine, and so you don't want to like tax your body too much. Because again, as women, our bodies are more delicate in the sense that they are already expending enormous amounts of energy, maintaining fertility. You go through a monthly cycle. And one thing that I feel like people often overlook about women is they think, oh, well, women are weaker than men. And it's like, are we though? Or are we actually just having our energy allocated to something that men don't have? If men had a uterus and they were having to expend energy every month lining that uterus with like blood and nutrients and then releasing an egg and then shedding it and going through that whole cycle every month, you know, maybe men would not have as much energy either, you know? So women's bodies are already doing a lot, you know, and it's something we take for granted because it happens automatically. But again, you know, our bodies are already working pretty hard. And I think that's also why taking care of your health can be very feminine, especially if you want to have children. You know, you have to take care of your health so you can take care of your fertility, so that you can have a healthy labor and a healthy pregnancy, you know? So again, it's very feminine to take care of your health, and that's important. You know, that's part of being attractive. Men will often put on their dating profiles, I want a woman who takes care of herself. That's often part of what they mean. You know, they want a woman who's in good health, and you know, good health is very attractive to men. It puts a sparkle in your eyes. It puts color in your cheeks and your lips. You know, you look more vital. There's a more vibrancy to you, and men can find that very attractive. That is often where our makeup comes from. You know, the reason we have red lips and cheek red blush is because that's how our body looks, you know, when we're running or something, you know, and all the blood's pumping and you're all like revved up and your body's like, you know, just totally like, I don't know, you know, vibrant, you know, your cheeks flush, the color in your lips, you know, comes out because the blood's flowing, you know, and that actually, to men, that can be very attractive. That is why, you know, sometimes like, you know, if you're working out and you like, you know, run into your boyfriend or something and you're all flushed and everything, it can look very pretty to men because it's that vitality. Men have an instinctive, you have to understand, relationships are about procreation, because ultimately when you get attracted to somebody, you know, that physical attraction is toward doing an act that's going to result in children, you know, so relationships ultimately are about children in a certain sense. And that's why the attraction triggers in men, you know, they've done studies, and it was, you know, women that had, you know, that were pretty because they could bear children. You know, the researchers were surmising that it was markers of fertility. And, you know, again, that points back to God's plan for men and women coming together is to have children. And that's why men are hardwired to find signs of health, you know, that vitality and that energy, you know, in you. They're attracted to that because, you know, getting together is about, you know, ultimately having children. And so that's why when you view a relationship in that way, that it's ordered toward, you know, bringing new life into the world, then suddenly those weird quirky things about guys, like why they're into breasts or why they're into women that are, you know, very shiny hair, things like that, it is because men are, you know, instinctively, God put that in men to look for women, you know, who there's an idea of fertility kind of subconsciously at back of all that, because again, you know, God said, be fruitful and multiply, you know. So if you remove that aspect, the children, the procreative aspect of relationships, then yeah, things like that are going to be silly, you know. Why are men into boobs? Because you nurture babies with them, you know. Like I don't want this video to get too vulgar, but you know, it's things like that, things that's a representation of that physical motherhood, you know, that is what things are ordered to. So anyways, good health, radiant health. Try to get into as good of health as you can, you know, and this is also healthy for your own mindset, you know. It's self-care, you know, eat well, run, you know, maybe you don't like running, maybe walk, you know, walking can be very healthy. But again, take care of your health. You know, you're sending a message to yourself, hey, I'm important, I'm taking care of myself, and that can only help you in relationships. So that is the last one in the series. We have just covered the last video on beauty, so that is that. Hope that was helpful. The next batch of videos will be on goodness, as that is the second leg of this tripod here, so stay tuned.